Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is and today I'm going to be giving you my unsolicited opinion about whether you should study music or not. When I mean study music, I don't mean study music in your own home, in your own time, for your own personal enjoyment. Of course you should study. But the people that I want to talk to now are people that are thinking, should I study music on a tertiary education level, so college, university degree, or am I better off not doing it? I don't have the resources you do to make the right decision for you. I'm only speaking of my own personal opinion and experience. You should make your own decisions. If I did it all over again, would I study? Part of me thinks that was a huge waste of time. And it was a really expensive practice. Would I do it all over again? I always struggle to answer this because I met my husband studying and we have been happily married for over 5 years now. For that reason, yes, I would do it all over again. But apart from that, from an actual professional development point of view, would I do it all over again? You need to ask yourself, first and foremost, what do you want to achieve? And be honest with yourself. Do you want to get into scoring films? Do you want to get into having people listen to your beats online or buying them? What is your end objective? When I was studying, I didn't know what my end objective was. I always knew I wanted to be a composer, but I also wanted to be a chemist, and I also wanted to be a musician and a TV show host. I couldn't decide, and so I ended up studying so many different things because of my indecision, and my indecision cost me a lot. Ultimately, when I started learning more about myself is when I was actually doing things. So for instance, writing music for films, dealing with clients, learning what I like and what I don't like in the real world, not in those 4 walls where they tell you to do an assignment, you do a good job, you get a good grade, and you think, hey man, I'm really good at maths, I should become a mathematician. I tried that and no. So first of all, be clear with your objectives. If you don't know what to do with your life and you are just wanting to have time go by and explore different things, that's fine, but then be honest and then ask yourself, is going to a university really the thing that's going to enable me to explore? It might be. It might be a very expensive way to do it. It might be a very cost-effective way to do it, depending on whether you have a community college or free education, that kind of thing. Nowadays, with internet, you could spend a year doing online courses or watching YouTube videos and taking notes and going into the real world and doing interns and doing research on yourself instead of research on a topic which may or may not ever be relevant to your life. Now, from someone who has studied music, objectively speaking, what did I gain from that experience? Well, the experience was fun. I mean, I made friends, I did a lot of cool things, I loved performing, I loved being around musicians all day, so that was great. Does that help me now? No, not at all. There are other ways and cheaper ways to make good memories. Did I make connections that helped me in my professional life? Too soon to say. I made friends, and some of those friends are really successful. Maybe down the line, having gone to the same university as them will play in my favor. I don't know. I didn't need to go to university to make music connections. If your goal is to make music connections, paying tons of money to go to a place and maybe make some connections also might not be the best way to do it. There are far better and far more creative ways to network. Like, for instance, go to a conference. Often these tickets to conferences can be expensive, but they are far less than going to a music college, and music colleges are often super crazy expensive. If your goal is to get better at your skill, then sitting in a bunch of history of music classes, they say it's useful to know the history because you can see what people have done and how the arts progress. But there are so many different niches of music history. I studied a lot of classical music history at varsity. Does that help me now? Making my lo-fi hip-hop beats and scoring animations? Not that I'm aware of. It's really hard to know what has helped you in life and what hasn't, because things influence each other. And I don't see the value it had. That doesn't mean it didn't have value. But in my opinion, and since that is what this video is about, that was useless to me. All my music theory training, and there was a lot of it. Do I use my music theory? Did I need to get a master's degree in it? No. I could have read a couple books. In fact, I could have transcribed a lot of music and analyzed it and really gotten that into my musical DNA, and that probably would have been enough. That's the kind of thing you can do in a few months. You don't need to get an undergrad and then an honors and then a master's to get that kind of skill. Knowledge in and of itself doesn't help you, because if you want to be a better performing musician, you need to have it in your body, you need to have it in your fingers, You need to project this stuff. Knowledge alone gets you nowhere. It's your application of knowledge. If you want to study in a certain place, is that place helping you not only get knowledge, but teaching you how to apply it? Because so many colleges absolutely don't do that. They teach you a bunch of stuff, and then you go into the real world and you're like, In fact, in one of my first YouTube videos on this channel, I talk about that very thing, about how becoming a film composer was so not what I thought it would be, and that I had to pretty much forget everything I learned and start from scratch. To be honest, I'm a little scared to put my opinion out there because it might not be the right thing for you, but this is just my opinion. My opinion is that studying music is not the best way to become a good musician. And when I say studying music, I mean studying music at a university. In my opinion, the best way to become a better musician is to make music regularly, to get out there and perform your music, to meet with other open-minded musicians, to talk about the creative process, to share your music, and to get feedback. You do not need to go to a university to get that. In fact, even if you live in the middle of nowhere, there are people that live in far more remote places than I do, and they are doing far better than I am because they are able to utilize the resource. They're using the internet, they're using the people around them, they are making it work. You don't need to go to a school to become a good musician. Do good teachers help? Absolutely. Good teachers are priceless. Absolutely priceless. If you can find a mentor, that is far better than you teaching yourself. I've taught myself many things. I taught myself how to compose, how to play guitar, how to play a lot of instruments, and it's helpful to be able to teach yourself things. But what's even better is getting a teacher for a very specialized purpose. A mentor, someone that can train you through a process, or someone you can watch and emulate and learn from. You have so many amazing role models that you can watch online. You might have amazing role models in a city that would be willing to mentor you. I personally have never had a mentor in the way that I've been like, hey man, will you mentor me? But there are people in my life that have been supportive and encouraging over the years, and in a way those have been my mentors. Mentors can change over time, but they are so important and definitely a speedier way to get to where you want to be than trying to teach yourself. Another way to look at this, if you have the money to go to college but you don't know if you want to go to college, is to think, how can I invest this in myself? How can I use this time, presumably 3 years if you're looking at going to university and you've got the money for it, or even if you work for the money, how can I use these 3 years to best equip myself for my future as a musician? I would encourage you to learn about marketing. You can read books like Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. You can listen to Seth Godin's podcast or Tim Ferriss' show. Another one is Marie Forleo. I highly recommend her videos on YouTube. Absolutely, you need to learn your skill. This means lots of hours practicing, and if you're composing, it means composing and getting feedback. If you're practicing and you want feedback on your own practice, you can record yourself with your phone. A very essential ingredient that a lot of people nowadays ignore is getting out into the real world. It is really easy for me to sit on my couch and tell you about my opinions, but unless I actually go out into the real world, it's going to be very hard for me to have an impact on people's lives with my music. And the internet makes it a lot easier to do that. There are people that are able to live inside and not go out and have an impact with their music. But I don't think that's the best way to do it. And I think those are in the minority. If you have anxiety disorders and not able to go outside, this is definitely a great way to get started. And I have a history of really, really bad anxiety, which I've never spoken about on this channel. Actually, I have. But that's one of the reasons why I've been doing a lot of YouTube. Nowadays, I'm free from that and I'm able to go out and meet people, and it's really cool. But that has definitely slowed me down over the last few years. And anxiety or not, if staying inside and not getting out there is a habit that you are putting on yourself, then when we eventually do get feedback or share our music, it'll probably be scary. So I encourage you to just not even get into that situation where going out is scary. So in summary, there are a few good things that I got from my university experience. Apart from a lot of fun, I did get degrees, which I don't think have really helped me in life. I did get a husband, which highly recommend. Unless you're not into dudes, then maybe a husband's not the right call for you. And I made friends. I learned a lot. Could I have done all these things outside of university? Apart from finding a husband, yes, I could have done everything else outside of university. When making this decision, try not to be a sheep. Try not to do what everyone else is doing. Try not to do what people are expecting of you, but try and make your own decision. Know what you want and why you want it. If you have those two questions answered, chances are it's probably going to be really easy for you to decide whether or not going to a university to study music is the right thing for you. So in case this video didn't leave you more confused than you were before you started watching it, I hope that I've encouraged you to think for yourself and really look at what you want. If you don't know what you want, is taking a gap year so bad? An intentional gap year. Don't just sit and play games for a year, okay? Come do something with your life. We have very limited time on this earth. You can really make a difference. You can really do something amazing. Just be honest with yourself. Allow the truth of that to sink in. It's scary, I know. It's scary. But you're brave. So good luck. Welcome to the family. Check out my music on Instagram. I'm busy with the beat challenge. All the best with your big decision. Bye! I forgot to watch my sandwich. This is really good. Wow.